Yo, what's good? It's Neckables, and with all the cabbage that you're getting for the holidays, I know at least a few of you are looking forward to getting some new gear. Keyboards, mice, or monitors, everyone wants to make sure that their hardware and gear is up to speed. Whether it's Razer, Logitech, or Corsair, all of us circle jerk around a brand or two and say that everything else is trash compared to it. And I'll admit, me personally, I've stuck around Razer and Logitech products a lot, and I've been through a few, but what I'm working with now is I've got a G700S for my mouse and an Electra for my headset, and that's about all the gaming branded gear that I own. Other than that, I have a Dell keyboard, a Dell monitor, and for my PC, I've got a Dell Precision. So if you know the products that I'm talking about, you'll notice that they're not really marketed as pro-based. All the products that I own are more toward a consumer level market for offices and shit like that. But I could still blow money on a Black Widow or a Vengeance K70 with like banana purple MX switches, and I could buy a triple monitor BenQ setup with a liquid cool case and run SLI with two GTX 560s. But honestly, you just gotta ask yourself, is this shit overkill? Because in League, it's easy to say that I'm obviously not the best player. I'm not Faker or Pro Belter, and better yet, I'm not even Challenger. I'm only Platinum 5, so I still have a way to go before I could even reach Masters, let alone Diamond. And the only way that I can climb the ladder is for me, basically, to improve my skills and mechanics. So what does this have to do with the gear that I own? And that's exactly the question. Your skills and mechanics are not limited to the gear that you own. You don't need to spend $200 on a keyboard or $150 on a mouse to get good. If you're under the impression that you need a certain piece of hardware or gear in order to play better, I can assure you that you're not gonna magically go from Bronze 5 Taco Bell Hell to Diamond 1. So take a look at this. There's a guy named Timo and he's Challenger, right? And I mean, it's nothing new considering I can show you hundreds of other Challenger players as well, but there's one thing that makes Timo stand out among other Challenger players and even high elo players as a whole. It's the fact that he doesn't even use a mouse, he uses a trackpad. He did an AMA on Reddit a few months back and he pointed out that he uses an HP laptop that's about 3 years old. Now me personally, I know a few people that spent well over $1,000 on their PC, including the accessories as well, and they dedicate all their parts into gaming. But what really saddens my soul is the fact that Timo somehow climbed to Challenger using a trackpad, when I know people with Cherry MX switches and 20 buttons on their mouse couldn't even make it out of silver. Another good example of using unusual hardware is Kerp, who used to play mid for Millennium a while back. He played in the LCS using a trackball, and if you don't know what a trackball is, it's basically a huge testicle that sits on the side of your mouse and you have to finger it with your thumb in order to make the cursor move. And the fact that he can play at a competitive level using this is just crazy how people can think that you need to buy and spend money on an overpriced piece of gear to even begin to play at a higher elo. Now I'm not saying that mechanical keyboards or any other high level performing gear is overrated. In fact, compared to my keyboard, which is some rubber dome membrane, it performs quite better. Keystrokes are much more crisp, they're tight and responsive, but that alone doesn't mean that my mechanics are going to improve. If I were to right now switch over to a Black Widow, I'm still going to perform at a Plat 5 level. No piece of gear or equipment is going to magically take me to Diamond, or better yet, accelerate that process. The only way I'm going to rank up is, like I said, with practice and dedication, by improving my skills and mechanics. So if you take these players like Timo and Kerp, who are probably not alone that use unusual hardware, into consideration, you could probably see why you don't need to drop $300 to $400 into gear that your favorite streamer is using. Just use what you're comfortable with, and if you're doing fine with a 2-button mouse, but you feel that, oh, pro player XX Dragon Slayer 60 is using a Razer Naga, and I should use one too, you're not going to all of a sudden perform better, and what might even happen is you're going to feel overwhelmed to using features that you're just not comfortable with. Get used to and familiar with the gear that you already own, but if you strongly feel that you might need that extra button or that crispier response time, feel free to spend and buy whatever you need. Because it's true that all gear is not created equal. There are better mouses and there are better keyboards that suit better for League. For example, there are mouses that are designed for first-person shooters like Counter-Strike, and there are mouses designed for MOBAs like League or Dota. But there's no need to go through the headache of getting used to a new piece of gear when you're already performing well off without it. It's just hard to watch when I see that kids that think they'll do so good if they had the keyboard that Bjergsen is using or the mouse that Faker uses. Getting good is not defined by the gear that you use, but rather the time that you spend getting comfortable with the gear that you're already using. To put it in perspective, if I saw a Nasus go top lane in Champ Select, everyone knows that Teemo is one of the hardest and most annoying counters to play against. The blind fucks up your stacks, his shrooms have a global taunt, and he's basically a dickhead condensed into a Yordle. But if I'm more comfortable playing Maokai, like if I had over 200 games with him, what good is it if I play Teemo with 0 games, even though he's considered one of the best counters? So if I'm doing fine using my G700S, there's really no solid reason for me to upgrade my mouse to a G502 or a Razer Def Adder. So don't waste your money unless you need to. If there's a feature that you really like, then by all means go ahead and purchase it. But if not, just ask yourself, do you really need it and is it really worth it? So thanks for watching, and say what's up if you see me on the Rift.